1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn the beat back.
Hello YouTube, the Kingpin of Cinema,
and QB999 here with another the Magic Hour episode where we review a new set. Although we're a little late on this one.
We've been really busy. I had a vacation for a few days, and
me too, and you know, general job searching,
which is a horrible pain in the ass.
Very
from personal experience.
And anyway, though, it's not all bad. You know, it's actually allowed us some time to experience the set before we kind of go along, before we review it, so we know a little bit more about what we're talking about.
So I don't know if we would necessarily give a buying recommendation, because chances are you probably already have.
But although we will say right now, we do recommend buying this set.
This set is cool. And it's I'm so glad it came out for Halloween, because it really fits the tone of the month.
They really got it down with this one. Anyway, so we're actually going to each go over 7 different cards.
As opposed to 6.
Because, you know, we just want to make up for the lack of videos recently, which we'll try to put up a few more.
Now, as a clarification, as always, these 7 cards represent what we find to be the best of the set, and some of these cards that people are going to be gunning for in drafts and
which I have experience with. I did go to a draft for this set,
and standard sets that you might want to consider for standard. So
why don't you start out first?
And also cards that people are probably going to be really gunning for collection. So anyhow, I'm going to start off the list with the number 1 card, and this is literally the number 1 card
probably
everybody's going to want, especially for draft and standard. Invisible Stalker.
It's a 1/1. Hexproof and unblockable, which basically means he is a fuck to get rid of. Really, your entire deck strategy can resolve around getting him out and buffing the shit out of him, because your opponent, unless he has like big burn spells that have world effects,
the only way
you can't kill it.
There's only 2 ways you're ever going to be able to get rid of this guy. That is going to be world effects and sacrifice, if you can force your opponent to sacrifice them. So people are generally just gonna play the Invisible Stalker and just toss as many enchantments or equipment cards on them as they possibly can, especially the enchantment that will give them regeneration, just in case.
Yeah. Which you know, I hear everyone, they were really pissed off about the Cobblade strategy with Zendikar, but now that that's out, I think it's going to be replaced now with this, where you just basically put all the
Stalker strategy.
I'll put all the swords onto the Invisible Stalker, because then there's really nothing your opponent can do, unless his deck is specifically designed to fight it. Which actually does lead me into my first card, which is the one you mentioned, Skeletal Grimace. All it does is give a creature +1/+1
and regeneration,
and tap a black to regenerate it. So even if your opponent can somehow deal damage to it to kill it, you just go, okay, fine then, regenerate. So you better hope your card says unable to regenerate after this damage.
Yeah.
So we can already tell Invisible Stalker is probably going to be the most sought out card, at least in drafts, especially in drafts.
I mean, in draft, if you open your first pack and you have an Invisible Stalker and a decent rare, chances are you're going to go for the Invisible Stalker first.
Or at least you better. You better go for the Invisible. Because let me tell you, when you come across, I mean, I had 2 people in my draft who both got 2 of these things. And when you come across one, it just pisses you off. Right on the second turn, as soon as he drops it, it's like, fuck, I lost.
Yeah. Alright, well, moving on. I'm big into zombies, and this set does not disappoint when it comes to zombie decks.
One of the major creature types.
Which is amazing, because it's about goddamn time we have a set that focuses on zombie types.
The major focus of this whole set are creature types that are like classic horror movie monsters.
Yes, this is very Universal inspired. If you haven't already guessed, Invisible Stalker, Invisible Man, and of course, blue is really geared towards like a Dr. Frankenstein-esque situation. And you got
all the mad scientists.
Mad scientist stuff, and you got zombies, werewolves, vampires. So for a zombie, I mean, particularly if you're going for a blue-black zombie deck, Rooftop Storm is the one you probably want to gear towards, because it allows you to play 0 for every zombie creature spell.
You know, it is good. It costs 6 to put out, so in drafts and such, it's probably not that great of a card.
In Standard, it would be a bit more ideal.
Standard a bit more ideal, not in draft. But, you know, if you're playing just for fun, then yeah, a really good card, because you can put that out late game, draw a shitload of cards, and then just play them all for 0 if you're working on a zombie deck.
Yeah.
So, my next card is called Geist of St. Taft. And I also kind of made this a combo one, where you mix him with Ghostly Possession. This guy is a 2/2 flyer with hexproof, so you know he's hard to get rid of right away. But his big ability is when he attacks, he puts a 4/4 angel into play, also attacking. You know, the tough part is like when you attack with him, you know, your opponent's just going to instantly block him, kill him, and then no more angels coming out. If you put Ghostly Possession on him, then all damage dealt to him is negated. So then he's almost impossible to get rid of. And then every time you attack with him, he's not doing anything himself, but he's still bringing those angels into play, which our friend used this combo in a draft that he went to, and this actually got him almost 4 straight wins because of it, just with that one combo.
Yeah, alright, so my next card on my list is Army of the Damned, which basically, tap 8, you get 13 2/2 zombies, and it's got flashback for 10. So pretty straightforward.
The downsides is they all come into play tapped,
which is not a big deal.
And the fact that it costs 8. Actually, I think it costs 7.
Yeah, I think you're right. It probably costs 7. So anyhow, were a lot of guys that we know that play draft were saying that it'll never come in handy.
Not in draft. Not in draft at all.
I would disagree because I think it would do fine in draft.
The tough part about it is the fact that it costs so much mana, chances are you probably won't even get that much mana onto the field to be able to play it.
I've had games where I've gotten that much mana.
There's been a few. I mean, I've played a game where I almost had enough mana to play Darksteel Colossus, which is 11 mana. But a majority of games, it's not going to go on that long. And even if it does go on a long time, chances are you won't go through enough of your deck to get that much mana.
Well, we have a bit of a disagreement here. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm right. But this is definitely more of a standard.
Standard and casual. Standard and casual.
I think it would do just fine in standard, and for sure casual, because it is a pretty damn good card.
Well, yeah, you get 13 2/2 zombies.
Not that many.
Anyway, my next card is Angelic Overseer, which is, I believe it's like a 5/3 or something like that. But its big ability is that when you have a human in play, then it has lifelink and is indestructible. So, you know, pretty good for an angel card. That also brings us to another big part. This is the fact that
humans is the main.
Humans is also an actual main creature
focus.
Type. Yeah, just plain humans. You know, you have human advisors, human wizards, you have human monks. You just have plain human soldiers and just plain humans. And you know, that's actually surprising that they actually took such a basic creature type and made it such a big focus for this whole set. They even made some funny creatures like Village of Cannibals. It's just a creature that whenever a human dies, it gets a +1/+1 counter.
I like it. Alright, for the vampires, we have the new Vampire Lord, Bloodline Keeper, and its flip side mechanic, Lord of Lineage.
You know, magic usually is cyclical with its abilities and its new mechanics. This time we're taking a flashback to Kamigawa, where we have flip cards.
Sort of.
But they did it differently and better this time, I will say that.
Because in Kamigawa, the top side and the back side...
Well, the bottom side. Yeah, the top and bottom.
Top and bottom were 2 different cards. So when it transformed, you just turned it. Turned it to the upside down, or whatever.
Whereas with Innistrad, the front and the back are both 2 separate cards. You have the starting side, which is always the side you play it on, And then once certain conditions are made for each card, you flip it over to the transform side.
So, Bloodline Keeper, what he does is, you tap him, put a 2/2 vampire in play. Tap a 1 black, and you can transform him. But only if you have 5 or more vampires.
Which is not that hard.
Not that hard. And when you turn him over, all vampires get +2/+2, and he can still make 2/2 vampires. So
and all those vampires have flying, too.
Oh, yeah. So, there's never, like... Because for most transformation cards, the condition is if your opponent hadn't played any spells.
Or if anyone didn't play spells. And also a tough part is that for a lot of cards with transform, there's conditions where they transform back. Where this guy doesn't have one.
Yeah, what I was leading into, he cannot transform back. He cannot be forced to transform back. So once he transforms, you're kind of screwed. Just gonna go on a limb and say that you want to try and kill this guy before he transforms.
Which goes into my next card, Ludwig's Test Subject. It's a little 0/3 defender for 2, where you tap 2 and you put a test counter on it. And doesn't seem that troubling. But then once you get 5 counters on it, you transform it, and it becomes a fucking 13/13 with trample. That thing's big. I got that during the draft. And once I was able to protect it with a card called Average Mask, which gave it hexproof, it ran over every enemy I came across. Every person who I used this card on lost to me. Because there is really nothing you can really throw at a 13/13. Except for that one card that deals 13 damage to something. But even then, with the hexproof on it, there was nothing anyone could do. And that quickly became one of my favorite cards.
One of my favorite cards, Endless Ranks of the Dead. It's an enchantment that costs 4. In the beginning of your upkeep, you get zombies equal to half of what you have in play. So if you have 4 zombies, you get 2. Your next turn, you have 6 zombies, you get 3. So it's always half rounded down. So, pretty damn good card, I would say.
Once you kind of start building up a big army, it's hard to stop.
I mean, especially if you have, multiples of these in play,
they stack.
So
I would definitely say that's better, in my opinion, than Army of the Damned.
I would agree. It is much better. But I mean, they go so well together.
Yeah, they do. Anyway, my next card is Scab Ruinator. It's a 5/6 flying for 3. Yeah, it's a 5/6 for 3, which means it has to have another cost, which it does. A lot of creatures in this set with the surname Scab in the title, they're really strong creatures for cheap, but they have the condition of having to remove creatures from your graveyard from the game. This guy requires you to remove 3.
Yeah.
But, that's not that hard to do. This deck, part of blue, is actually milling yourself. There's a guy, getting creatures in your graveyard to kill, to sack to these guys. There's a guy that lets you win if you have no cards in your library and you withdraw a card. So, part of blue is actually milling yourself, so this guy, not hard to get out. There was another guy I fought against a lot at the draft, was a 6/9 for 5 mana, and all he had to do was remove 2 creatures from his graveyard.
Yeah.
I had a hard time dealing with that guy. But still, the scab creatures, I could see that being a very viable strategy in draft. If you pick up maybe 1 or 2 of them, those big creatures for really cheap can really come in handy.
Yeah. Alright, we have our first, I think our only Planeswalker on our list.
Yeah.
Liliana Vale. Now, what she does is, she, First, she adds counters that forces everybody to discard a card.
Including you.
Yes, everybody. That's why I said everybody. Her second one, remove 2 counters to force an opponent to sack a creature. And in her big ability for 6... basically does an old card called Do or Die. One of my faves. Now, basically how Do or Die works is you take all your opponent's creatures, put them into 2 piles.
Well, I thought it was all permanents.
It might be all... For this one, it might be all permanents.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's all creatures.
Well, we'll check later.
For right now, I'm just going to say all creatures, because that's what Do or Die did. And you put them into 2 piles, and then your opponent picks what is sacrificed. So, A pile, B pile. You pick what you keep, and you pick what you lose.
So, like it's called, it's a Do or Die.
So, if it is all permanents, Hell, that's even better. And that would better explain the $40 price point this card already has.
Garuku's only 30.
Fucking Garuk.
Anyway, so my next card is called Reckless Waif. It's just a 1/1 for 1 red mana. This guy is also, for me, was a winning card in my draft. Because you play him first turn, your opponent plays a land, and because it's the very first turn, chances are your opponent won't be able to play anything. So then, this guy transforms instantly into a 3/2. So by turn 2, you're already swinging for 3 damage a turn.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I actually had a match where, just using this one creature, I won the entire match.
Alright, so my final card is a personal favorite of mine, and I really want to get it. Evil Twin. Basically, it comes in as a copy of any creature in play. You tap a blue, tap a black, and destroy the one that you copied.
Or destroy any creature with the same name.
Essentially, you're destroying what you copied, but if they play others, you can destroy those as well.
Yeah, so it keeps being useful as even more than just being the copy.
Plus, he can kill himself, too.
If you want to.
It has the same name. Another aspect we didn't really get a chance to talk about are...
Well, I still have my last card to go over first.
Okay, well, go ahead.
My last card is another really good draft card, Moon Mist. It's a card that instantly takes all humans on the field and instantly transforms them. So if you're using it for werewolves, all your humans are instantly transformed. And this is an instance, so you can use it as a defense too. But it has an even better built-in ability as well. It basically has fog built in, except for wolves and werewolves. So if you're using a werewolf deck, guess what? All your shit is still going through. All your stuff is still dealing its damage, whereas your opponents, unless they're using werewolves and wolves, they're out of luck. Everything's stopped for them.
One thing we didn't have on our list, our cards, are the curses. You can curse players.
Oh yeah, curses are basically just enchantments for the players. And you know, they kind of finally gave a name to it, like they gave an enchant creature, they eventually started calling it Aura. Whereas now enchanting players is curses. A curse.
And also we have a new ability, Morbid.
Morbid, it's an ability that goes off whenever something dies in a turn. Some of them are tap abilities, some of them are just abilities that just go off at the end of the turn. But Morbid is a new ability that they added. You know, it's okay, just when something dies. It's kind of like Bloodlust.
You just need stuff to die. That's all there is to it.
Yours, your opponent's, doesn't matter. As long as something goes from in play into a graveyard, the ability will go off.
So yeah. Well, that's our Innistrad.
You know what,
Bliss.
Overall, we really like this set.
I love this set, and I've bought quite a bit from it, and I'm probably going to buy a lot more.
So we're actually excited to see what they're going to do for the next set.
So pretty soon you can expect to see more deck reviews, because I have my zombie deck I can showcase.
I have a deck I can showcase, even though I haven't really gotten a whole lot of deck. I'm going to probably show off my draft deck, show how that worked off.
So everybody can see how much it sucks?
Yeah, basically. Hey, I came in 15th out of 21, which is better than I usually do, and I beat Brian, which is all that I care about.
I can understand that.
Well, of course, fucking Andrew always has to come in like first or third and outdo us.
Well, that's all we have to bring up on Innistrad. Terrific set. I hope you found this video informative. If you're on the fence about whether or not to get it, hopefully you just gave you a better idea of what to think about it.
Again, sorry it's a little late, but we're trying to catch up here.
Alright, so thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.